Thank you very much for listening today. My name is Steve Tanner. The program Finishing Strong and whatever you're doing in life, we're here to help you do that today, here to help me do that today as well. So thank you for listening at 94.1 The Voice. A few weeks ago, in fact, it was the week before the March for Life. There was a March for Life right here in Boise, but there was also the big March for Life that's been going on for 50 years in Washington, D.C. That week before that, we had some really cool folks in here to talk about that, to talk about life, to talk about what's going on in this community regarding that. And they're from Stanton Healthcare. Stanton Healthcare, a wonderful organization providing super quality healthcare and certainly standing for life. And one of the people that was here from Stanton is their Director of Community Outreach, and that's Linda Thomas. And Linda is back with us today. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Steve. We are thankful to be back.
And Leandra was also here with you that week to talk about what happened with her at Stanton because she chose life. Leandra is here, and we're going to talk to Leandra about some more things today, though. But Leandra, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
Well, okay, so Leandra and Linda and more, we're going to do that. We're going to talk about that, too. But you guys went to Washington, D.C. for the March for Life and other things. We talked about the anticipation of that. Now you did it.
Yes.
And you're back. I want to hear some stories about how it went. What happened? What did you learn? How are you different? What happened? What an amazing time that is. So I just threw a whole bunch of questions out there. Linda, you want to just start us off with kind of how you got there and what your sort of your agenda was?
Sure. So we were excited for the first time ever to take 3 of our Stanton moms and their children to DC with us. Thanks to generous Stanton supporters who believe in our mission and who believe in our moms and their voices. And so we took Leandra and her baby, Percy, and we took JC and her baby, Jayla. And then we took Jessica, who is one of our first Stanton moms, and her baby, who's now 14, Paulina. And they all got to experience raising their voices and what Stanton has done for them. And we talked about our Not Fake to Me campaign that we were kicking off there. And, you know, our moms are at the heart of everything that we do. We love them and their children so much. And I'm so proud of how God used them and how God lit a fire in them during our week in DC, and that we had the joy and blessing of watching that happen before our very eyes. So I know Leandra can share from her heart.
Yeah, Leandra, she's just beaming right over here. And what an amazing time that must have been for you. You know, your story of coming to Stanton, choosing life, having your beautiful child now, who's 16 months old or
17 months 17, as of yesterday.
Okay, 17 months. You got to get the month thing right. We have a grandchild who's 3 weeks old. So, so Leandra, going to DC, you'd been there before in high school, you told me, but you were there for a specific purpose, taking your daughter with you, and what an amazing, amazing time that you must have had. What did you learn? What were some of your first thoughts that you had when you got there?
Some of my first thoughts when I got there was just how overwhelming the city itself is, how much history, and just the support around me. Being there with the Stanton ladies and just with the other moms, you really feel the immense amount of support that does surround you, not only with Stanton, but just with the community around it, honestly. Throughout the trip, though, I learned so many things that I didn't know before about just babies, you know, all about different processes, different support too. It was so beautiful to see how much support is out there, how many people just love children. But I think one of the most important parts of the trip to me personally was how much I felt connected just with the other women, with God, with my child, and with the decision I made. It didn't really hit me how close I had been or really the impact it would have had on my life. You know, 2 years ago, if I would have made a different decision, none of any of where I'm at in my life would have been possible. So it was really impactful being on this trip and seeing the support as well when we were in the march and seeing how many people just loved women and loved mothers and loved children and loved supporting them. It was incredible and phenomenal to see everybody come together. There were so many times on the trip that I just felt tears come to my eyes, and I had to stop and say a prayer or stop and share with one of the other ladies just how incredible each moment was. It felt so different to the trip I took in high school, just with so much more meaning behind it.
You know, when we talked before, of course, we talked about the kind of support that you got from Stanton Healthcare, and just people who are on your side, on your team. I like to think of it, it's like we're in a tug of war, and they're coming over to grab the rope with you and pull on the same end of the rope. And then you went to D.C. and you got tens of thousands of more people on that rope with you. Yes. Just the sheer numbers had to be overwhelming to a degree, but so encouraging.
It was really empowering too, just to see how many people were coming together. And when you know that not everybody can make that trip to DC, it's almost like you get to see a web of it starts with one person in DC, but 50 people back home. So it felt like even though there were thousands of people there were really millions.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. That's absolutely right. And there were two moments. I got to spend a lot of the march itself with Leandra. And there were two moments as we were walking toward the march before it started. And Leandra was sharing some of what she just shared now about walking through all of the booths that the March for Life has set up of different organizations that provide support that morning, and how overwhelming that was for her to see the support that she's talking about that she had no idea existed. And then, Leandra, remember we're walking in the march, and there were some pro-abortion people off to the side, and they were doing a chant, thank God for abortion. Oh. And Leandra's pushing Percy in the stroller in front of her, and we're marching along, and she said to me, "Can we say thank God for babies?" Mm-hmm. And I said, yes. And she lifted her voice loud and started a chant. And so all of us were saying, thank God for babies. Oh. And it was this beautiful moment.
Oh, that is wonderful. Well, that's Linda Thomas that you heard talking right there. She's Director of Community Outreach at Stanton Healthcare. And Leandra also sharing their story of having gone to the March for Life in Washington, D.C. This is the Finishing Strong program on 94.1 The Voice. So Leandra, that was a moment where you faced some pushback. Were there other moments where you got some, maybe some tension or somebody pushing back at what you were there for?
We did go and lobby with the senator and the Congress, and we did experience some pushback there. One of the offices was very nice, but was very kind of, openly against what we were there for. Very respectful still, but the AOC, we had showed up and she had locked her office. She had just kind of closed off communication.
AOC, that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez,
yes.
Congresswoman from, I think, the Brooklyn area or Queens area of New York. But
yes, and so we had come to show up to kind of show her that Stanton is real, and what better way to show them than with the moms who have gone to Stanton. And so facing kind of that closed door was a little bit frustrating, but it also felt like a time that we could make a statement or really like say something about what we do. You can call us fake, but we exist. We are the moms who chose life. So it was really empowering still to go and show up and share our stories.
So your experience there, how are you different?
Completely. I walked into it thinking that I knew myself, I knew my relationship with my daughter, my relationship with God, and I walked away with it with a whole new outlook on everything. I felt closer to God. I felt like the relationship I had with my daughter was more important and stronger in my life. And I felt like I had even more support than I ever knew about, just from being able to be there and experience everything.
Were you surprised at your response when you did face pushback? Were you surprised that the first thing that came to your mind was, "Hey, can we start a different chant here?"
Yeah.
Were you kind of surprised at that? Did you know you had that in you?
I mean, I've always felt very strongly about things, and so in that moment, it just kind of felt right. It felt like I didn't want my daughter to be hearing those things. I would rather her be hearing, thank God for babies.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, And so, Linda, when you're seeing that, you're seeing Leandra's response and others that are around you, the thousands that were there, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. But you have been a warrior in this battle for a while.
Yeah.
You're not a rookie to it.
Yeah.
How did it affect you?
It was profound. It was beautiful. And what I see in these women is God giving them their own voice that is going to be what changes the hearts and minds of the American people. Because while Roe v. Wade is overturned in the nation's highest court, we know it's not overturned yet in the hearts and minds of people. And so these women are going to be the irrefutable voices that change the cultural opinion on life. And helping women and what they really want when they're facing an unexpected pregnancy.
Wow. So, Leandra, we just got about a minute here, but what do you say to someone who feels like maybe they're facing what you were facing? They have an unexpected pregnancy. They feel like they're on an island all by themselves. What do you say to that person?
If you feel unsupported, you probably are. And there is support out there. You know, especially being in DC, there are 1,000 organizations out there for women.
And right here in the Treasure Valley, Stanton Healthcare, one of the strongest that there is in the country, and we're blessed to have you guys, Linda, here in the Treasure Valley. StantonHealthcare.org is how you get to them. If you're facing this, you know someone's facing this, just bookmark it so that you know that you have this avenue of outreach for resources, tons and tons and tons of resources. But thank you so much, Leandra. Thanks for coming back. And Linda, thank you for coming. I'm going to hold you over because we have someone else that we want to talk about this tomorrow on the program.
Wonderful.
So, all right. So thanks so much. And thank you for listening to Finishing Strong on 94.1 The Voice.